Good afternoon, and welcome to the Human Service presentation. My name is Jason, and I'll be your host for today. First, we're going to turn it over to our Dean, Stephanie, to walk us through a brief presentation. We will then move into a Q&A with our panel after this presentation. Just a reminder to ask questions during the presentation, put them in chat, and we'll do our best to answer them during the question and answer period. Over to you, Steph.
Jason, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. And on behalf of the faculty and staff in Human Services and Community Safety, I welcome you to our virtual open house. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Today is all about providing you with some important information and the opportunity to ask questions to our faculty and some of our staff. Before we get started, I would like to formally introduce myself. I am the Dean of Human Services and Community Safety at Georgian and Campus Principal at the Aurelia campus. I joined the team at Georgian in 2017. Before that, I was a social worker and then a police officer. I started my career in the college system as a faculty and then became an associate dean at Georgian College. I moved to Humber as an associate dean prior to coming up to Aurelia Georgian as the dean. I am very proud, coming from industry, of the work that we do in human services and community safety. And I do know that you will enjoy learning from our team later in the session when you will be able to ask questions to some of our faculty administrators and administrators. But if you're asking yourself, why should I choose human services and community safety at Georgian or Georgian at all? Let me tell you a little bit about who we are. First of all, our grads get jobs. 90.3% of Georgian alumni are employed within 6 months of graduation. Our programs emphasize applied learning, and Georgian relies on the strength of its 6,200 community partners that contribute to our student learning. In Aurelia, we have anywhere from 300 to 800 students working with community partners. Whether in classrooms or in labs or in the workplace, we focus on building the practical knowledge, skills, and abilities that employers are looking for. Second, we teach our students to become innovators and leaders in their community and workspaces. Did you know that Georgian is Canada's first designated changemaker college? We encourage students to learn to use creativity, collaboration, and problem solving to respond to issues and affect positive social change. Because of our Ashoka U designation, we can tap into the world's largest network of social entrepreneurs and changemakers. Georgian College is one of 4 institutions in Canada with a changemaker designation and one of 36 worldwide. Finally, we offer a truly unique and positive experience in post-secondary education. We are focused in applied learning. We have faculty with industry experience. We continually try and foster an inclusive culture. We are dedicated to your success, and as previously noted, we have extensive community partnerships to support our student learning. Beyond that, human services and community safety programs are located mainly at the Aurelia campus, but we also have sections of our programs at South Georgian Bay, Orangeville, and Owen Sound, all providing a friendly and inclusive place and a level of care and support that reflects our program and who we are as a staff and faculty team. That's why when you leave Georgian, you will have the skills you need and the mindset to succeed and the confidence to thrive. Now I would like to talk to you more specifically about each of our programs, as we have found this helps potential students better understand the difference between programs, helping you to select the program that best supports your interests. Our social service worker program, Giselle Beausoleil is our program coordinator. You can potentially work in case management, community development and advocacy, in community mental health. You can work in government and nonprofit agencies, community shelters, work with people with disability and exceptionalities, become an employment resource, work in senior programs, housing and educational services. In our developmental service worker program, coordinated by Deborah Morrow, we focus on learning to support people with learning, intellectual, and physical disabilities across the lifespan. You can potentially work as an educational assistant in elementary and secondary settings, in community living support, day service organizations, life skills coaching, recreation inclusion, employment supports, and in deaf and blind services. If you're interested in early childhood education, that program is coordinated by Deb Bubstead. You can facilitate the development of children from birth to 12 years, potentially working in childcare programs, early years resource centers, kindergarten programs, recreation programs, school readiness, and early intervention programs. Our Child and Youth Care program is a 3-year advanced diploma, and it is currently coordinated by Dr. Howard Bloom, soon to be coordinated by Dr. Mary Ventrella. In the CYC program, you can potentially work with children and youth who exhibit social, emotional, and behavioral problems in schools, residential centers, foster care, treatment centers, youth detention centers, early intervention programs, pediatric health centers, oops.
It seems as though we're having a little bit of an issue there, as it seems Stephanie has dropped out. Jason, maybe we should switch into the Q&A while we wait for Stephanie to come back in.
Yeah, no problem at all. We can definitely switch into the Q&A, and then whenever we get Stephanie back, we can finish the presentation, or we can just keep going with the question and answer. So first question I am going to throw at Megan. We have a question here about Therapeutic Rec program. It is a postgraduate program at Georgian, and you need a diploma. What would be the best diploma to take first, or can you give a number of options?
Hi, Jason. Yeah, thank you for that question. So for our Therapeutic Recreation program, being a postgraduate certificate, students coming in do need to have a diploma or a degree. There's a variety of different pathways. Really what we're looking at specifically is students coming in with a background in either health service or human services. Those typically set our students up and track for the best opportunities for graduate employment and ensure that they have the background to be successful in the program. A variety of different job opportunities, particularly with the TREC program. We have students working in healthcare settings, hospitals. Quite a few of our grads are in long-term care, but there's also opportunities to work in recreation settings and with children or adults of all ages.
Perfect. Thank you for that answer, Megan. I'm going to go to Allison next. We talked a lot about co-ops before and other programs. Now we're going to talk about placements. One, what is a placement? And then two, how do you support them while they're at placement? And how can a student find a good placement?
Hi there, thanks Jason. So placements are work integrated learning opportunities for students as they go through their program. It's generally an opportunity to connect with community partners, whether that be virtually, remotely, or even sometimes right in the field. And certainly right now, we have been doing everything across the board to ensure that students continue to meet with community partners. Placements can be 1 day a week, 2 days a week, or even in block placements where you're out for 7 weeks in total. Our placement office supports students in finding their placements in that week. Connect with our community partners, maintain those relationships, and students utilize a system we have called Georgian Connects, whereby they enter their information and then we do a match for all students. That's in placements. We do also do internships, which are considered in work integrated learning, but those are found by the students themselves, and so those are student led. Did I catch all your points, Jason?
Yeah, and how does a student find like a good placement? Do you find them for them, or if a student wants to do a placement, let's say they live in Hamilton, but they want to do their placement in Hamilton and not up in Aurelia or Owen Sound, is that an option for them as well?
Yeah, so generally our placements happen in the area where the student is learning, and so often that's because placements can run concurrently throughout the program. But if you are in a program that has a block placement, then we absolutely can have conversations about doing the placement from home. And to clarify, the field placement office, we build the relationships with the community partners and find the placements for the students, and then the students are matched to placements based on their preferences.
Perfect, thank you. Next question is going to be for Adam. So we have a couple questions here. How does the counseling psychology program differ from, say, the Lakehead Georgian or the counseling program with Lakehead or at other accredited universities? So when it comes to being designations and the accreditation from the psychologist side of it.
Thanks, Jason. Yes, we are. I'll just start by saying that we are actually the only counseling psychology degree in Canada that we know of at an undergraduate level. And so it's unique and different in that way. But our degree, as we went through the development process and then the accreditation process, went through exactly the same rigorous process that any undergraduate degree in Ontario would go through. And so we are considered the equivalent to any university degree in terms of students that may want to go on and do master's work following completing their undergraduate degree with us.
Perfect. Thank you, Adam. A follow-up question, actually. So people are interested in taking the counseling psychology course. Is it a very competitive course to get into?
So in terms of entry requirements, at this time you must have a 65% average in 6 university or college high school courses, and you must have your university level English course as well. We received a lot more applications for the intake this fall than we were expecting, and so actually expanded our intake capacity. But there is a possibility of having some kind of limitation going forward in terms of entry, and so it does appear that it's going to be a competitive process going forward.
Perfect, thanks, Adam. Deb, I have a question for you. So 2-part question. One, can you talk about your unique placement when it comes to EC and how the EC placements are done? And then number 2, it's what's the best way to use the EC program to transfer into a Bachelor of Education program?
Okay, thanks, Jason. So as far as unique placement, every college in Ontario who offers ECE does field placements, but philosophically here at Georgian, we think it's really important to help prepare our 4th semester students for the workforce. And so having a unique opportunity allows them to do some research on their own of a community agency that they would like to spend time in and prepare like they would for an interview and have that experience moving forward. So we really do value that opportunity for our students because, again, it can lead them into a direction and the networking that they're hoping for, perhaps in their own community. And then as far as moving on to a degree, we have several articulation agreements with a variety of universities, not only here in Ontario, but we have also had students study in Ireland and Australia. And so being able to use your 2-year diploma and move into 3rd year of a degree really does become enticing. And some students, when they start out, they don't think about being that kindergarten or primary teacher, but once they have a little experience, they can start to build some confidence and see themselves in that role. So we have lots of articulations to assist students to make that happen.
Perfect. And I'm going to ask a follow-up question now. Can a student go work in an educational setting, so in the kindergarten classroom, through your ECE program at Georgian?
Yes, absolutely. So in the province of Ontario, in order to call yourself an early childhood educator, you do have to have the 2-year diploma that we offer, as well as be registered with our professional regulatory body, the College of Early Childhood Educators. And so in the early learning classrooms with the junior kindergarten and senior kindergarten classrooms that have an educator attached to the kindergarten teacher, you do have to have this designation, which requires a diploma. So this is the best way to get that started for yourself and can lead you into all kinds of interesting positions, kindergarten classrooms being one of them.
Perfect, thank you. So the next question is going to be for Giselle. This is a very common question we always get. I want to be an addictions counselor. What is my best pathway to become an addictions counselor?
Thank you, Jason. So first of all, I want to acknowledge that my background is backwards. And that's the reality of me as a social worker. I'm pretty quirky when it comes to online stuff. However, as a social worker, I'm quite experienced. And I will make sure that you too, when you come through the social service worker program, that you are successful. So several of our students who come through the social service worker program are interested in becoming an addictions counselor. And the beautiful thing is that here at Georgian College, we have the addictions treatment and prevention program, which is a post-grad program. So our students who, complete their diploma with the social service worker program can then go on to the addictions program right here at Georgian College, which is a beautiful pathway for them because they're already all comfortable with us.
Perfect. Thank you for that. The next question is going to be for Deborah Morrow. Question here is, we have a student that wants to know and wants to work with people with disabilities. Does the developmental service worker program do that? Where will they work when they graduate, and are there jobs in the field?
Yes, and again, I apologize. I'm having some technical issues here, but in response to your question, where do DSWs work? It's very varied. Some individuals will work in school settings as educational assistants. Others may work in a group home setting with 4 to 5 individuals, assisting them with their day-to-day living. Some may end up working as job coaches. Some will work with individuals who have visual impairments, physical impairments, hearing impairments, lots of jobs. Right now in the province of Ontario, there is a great demand for individuals who are qualified to work in the developmental services field. Some of our students haven't even finished and they already have multiple job offers. So yes, lots of work available.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. We're going to go back to Giselle. Giselle, I can't decide between social service worker and child and youth worker. What do I do? What's my best option?
Oh, that's a tough one. For 9 years at Georgian College, I have taught in both programs, the child and youth worker program as well as the social service worker program, and both are fantastic. It's a tough decision to make. I think the student has to make sure to determine where they hope to work afterwards. So what kind of population of people are they really hoping to work with? Because the child and youth worker program focuses more on working with children and youth, even though they also get trained to work with families and with adults. Their main focus is working with children and youth, and so always coming from that perspective. With social service work, students become trained to work with varying populations. So we don't specifically focus on one population. They will get experience in working with from children to elderly people. So it's much more varied. It's not specific to one population. So I guess the student needs to determine, where they want to work after, what population they would really like to work with. But both are fabulous programs. Hard to decide.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Next question is for Adam. What are the different career opportunities directly after graduating the Honors Bachelor of Counseling Psychology program?
Thanks, Jason. There are a whole host of jobs working in the social services that our graduates will have a great opportunity to work in as counselors. Some people may be aware that there is a College of Registered Psychotherapists in Ontario. And so in order to do the controlled active psychotherapy, you do have to be a registered psychotherapist, and that means getting a master's degree beyond our degree. But the controlled active psychotherapy is very specific, and our graduates are eligible to work with anybody that is doesn't reach that level of the controlled act, which means serious impairment in their lives. So our grads will be working with people that have all kinds of challenges in their lives and are looking to make changes. And then our graduates will also know when it's time to refer those folks onto a registered psychotherapist.
Perfect. And don't go anywhere yet, Adam. I'm going to continue on with another question for you. Let's say, I know you talked earlier about you needing the university level courses to get into the Honors Bachelor of Counseling Psychology program. What happens if you want to take a different pathway and you want to start in social service worker, child youth worker? What pathway options would you have for that program?
Yeah, so anybody that's interested in that either is in a diploma at this time or is thinking of registering in that, I would encourage them to get in touch with me, and I can walk them through what the exemptions that they would be eligible for coming from any of those diplomas into our degree. The basic gist is you must have a 70% in any course that you want to use towards an exemption in a degree level program, and you must finish your diploma as well to use those courses to get those exemptions. People graduating from the social service worker program are going to get about a year of exemptions in the degree, so it would take them about 3 years to finish the degree after an SSW diploma. And child and youth care grads will get about a year and a half worth of exemptions. And so depending on whether they were able to do courses through the summer, they might be able to finish in 2 years after their CYC.
Perfect. Thank you, Adam. So we have some other questions here from the social service worker side. I know you do some unique placements in your second year, you're out. Can you try to talk about some of the placement opportunities that you would get as a student in social service worker? Giselle, sorry.
Okay, so our students, I didn't know if Allison was going to speak to that. I guess we could both kind of speak to this. So our students do get a lot of really amazing field placement opportunities. Our students have been out, not even just the locations, and the populations that they're working with, but even, geographically, they're able to work in different areas. So our students have worked with populations at like a Canadian Mental Health Association, Elizabeth Fry, Youth Haven. So they work with a variety of populations, but they also work in a variety of different types of placements that are available to them. Our field placement office does an amazing job at, building those relationships with our community partners and making sure that our students have a variety of opportunities to be able to choose from. Allison spoke earlier about, students being able to speak about, what are their choices? Where do they like to go? We have field placements with working with elderly people, New Path, the Lighthouse here in Aurelia. We have so many different places that students are able to go to. And the beautiful thing is that our field placement office is always open to, if students have an idea about someplace that they may be interested in going, they can have that conversation and that can be explored through our field placement. Did you have anything else to add, Allison?
Not specifically. I think that you covered that really well, Deb. But I would, oh my gosh, Giselle, I apologize. But I would like to suggest that one of the things that's come up in the last couple of years is that students have come to us and said, I'm actually interested in the administrative side of the work, not only the work with the client. And so we've been working really hard over the last couple of years to find those types of opportunities as well. And so those students might be wanting to work in the office and behind the scenes and still support the work that's being done on the front end. But that's been a really interesting growth opportunity for us and for our students as well. And the students have really enjoyed those. We also make sure that we have a breadth of opportunities. And so our students have been known to work with our Indigenous partners. We have partners with really young people, and then we have, as Giselle mentioned, all the way up across the board to the elderly. So the populations really vary, and the opportunities vary in that They can be one-on-one with clients or group work with clients or building on special events for a certain client base. So really diverse in the opportunities that students have when they're out on field placement. So just a little bit of an add to what Giselle shared. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you both. Next question is for Adam. We have some questions about the internship in the field placements in the Honors Bachelor of Counseling program. Can you sort of talk about what those experiences would be like?
Yeah, so there are 2 small placements in their first semester in third year in the counseling psych degree. And there'll be 1 day a week, and then they'll swap after reading week to a different one. And the idea is to get students exposed to some different opportunities, potentially working with some different populations, so that then they know what they really want to go after in terms of the full internship. The internship is the whole summer between third and fourth year. And so it really gives students an opportunity to have an intensive experience working in a counseling capacity with the populations that they're interested in working with. So placement opportunities might be anything from Canadian Mental Health Association to the Mental Health Outreach Program at different hospitals in our area, potentially in group homes doing some counseling work, potentially even in schools. So students will be able to work with the placement office to get a couple of opportunities to try out a couple of places and then go for that full intensive internship between third and fourth year.
Perfect. Thank you. Next question is going to be for Megan. The Therapeutic Recreation program is condensed into 1 year as a postgraduate program. Is it still comparable to other programs elsewhere in terms of employment afterwards and certifications?
Excellent. Thanks, Jason. Great question. So our Therapeutic Recreation program is a postgraduate certificate, and as I mentioned, that does mean that coming in you do have a foundation of a diploma or a degree. Our program is associated with Therapeutic Recreation Ontario, and one of the benefits of our certificate is that students upon completion of the program are eligible to become registered members of TRO, and that provides an opportunity for those students to come into the workforce and actually connect with organizations and show that their education has aligned them with the requirements in the field. So if you are coming into the program with a degree, then there's a different designation than if you're coming in with a diploma. But that also provides us with an opportunity to support the students with some additional experiential opportunities. And of course, the internship at the end of the program that Allison mentioned, all of those hours move towards their TRO designation.
Perfect. Thank you. So we have another question here. I can answer the first part of the question is, how do I apply for a program today? You can actually visit our application hub and they can support you with filling out your application, even covering the application fee. But the second part of the question is for Giselle. Does the social service worker program include helping people with mental health as well as other topics?
Absolutely. We have an actual course that's called Mental Health and Addiction. So students who are coming into our program, they will have a whole course that they will learn about how to work with clients who have mental health issues going on. And so for sure, but we also make sure that we have a variety of different, courses available to our students. And like Allison talked about, our students can have a variety of experiences in their field placements. So we make sure that they get some experience in learning how to work with Indigenous people. And so having that experience also in working with young people. So if they, chose to do a placement at Youth Haven, that they have a bit of experience with running groups. So we have a course that offers them the opportunity to be able to learn how to run groups, crisis work, also case management. We have a course that's called Case Management and teaches our students how to actually learn how to work with people and be case managers and, offer referrals and resources to our clients. So every course is strategically planned to prepare our students so that when they do go out on placement and when they do get their jobs after graduating, they are well prepared for the field. We make sure they are.
So I'm going to throw the next question to Stephanie. What program would I need to take to become a youth probation worker, and how competitive would that program be?
So that's a great question, Jason. I always encourage potential students to go to the organizations that they're interested in working for, because the organizations will tell you if they have a specific designation or a specific credential that they're looking for. In terms of Georgian's offerings, certainly trajectory from a social service worker is a great start. The counseling psych degree is also a solid start. We also have a community and justice services program, which is on the community safety side of the house. And if you're interested in more information, you can stick with us because we'll be talking about that a little bit later this afternoon. But those are three solid programs that will help you create a foundation from which to pursue work in that area for sure.
Perfect, thank you. The next question I'm going to throw to Deborah Morrow. Can you tell me what a typical day in the life of a human services student would be like while attending Georgian?
Okay, the typical day. Class times vary. Generally, you'll find that we run classes from 8 a.m. to anywhere up to 8 p.m. That doesn't mean you're there for 12 hours a day. You may only have a 3-hour class for a particular day. Our library services are accessible, and great library staff who can help you obtain resources to promote and facilitate your learning. We have our den where, again, students can kind of hang out and grab a bite to eat and enjoy some recreational ping pong and meet with fellow classmates. We have meeting rooms available in the library where students will often get together and work on projects together and discuss courses. We have a computer lab that's available. We have a beautiful scenery. So students often will take an opportunity to get outside with one another and enjoy the beautiful landscape and the beautiful nature that surrounds our campus. Lots of activities, lots of buzz. The advantage of the Aurelia campus is that we're small and everyone knows everyone. And so it's very friendly and everybody on the campus is extremely helpful.
Perfect, thank you. I am going to throw this one to Megan. Can you talk to the group about some of the student services that would be in place for anyone that's in Georgian as a whole, and what kind of services we offer our students here?
Absolutely, Jason. So we have a myriad of services available for our students, and the services are available at all of our campus locations. So if I think of our student services initially, we have a student services center where students can access support from counselors. There's mental health, academic supports, accessibility services available on site. We also have an adaptive technology lab where students can access additional supports from an adaptive technologist, but also utilize the technology they need right here on campus. In addition to that, there are career services. Allison has talked at length about our field placement office. But in addition to those services, we do have a career consultant available, and there's multiple career consultants across the college to support any of those particular needs. In the library, a variety of services there, Math Center, Writing Center. I'd also encourage all students to connect with our Georgian College Student Association. They're an exceptional connection to clubs and activities, social events. There's a variety of different opportunities for students to become engaged through GCSA, and it's a really great opportunity to build connections across the campus. I'm sure I missed something, but that's a quick highlight.
And I'm going to ask you a follow-up question already. Can you just touch on how we are still supporting students through remote learning as well?
Absolutely. So currently in our remote delivery format, our student services area has flipped everything to be able to provide the same level of service through remote delivery. So students are accessing services through potentially either calls or WebEx or Teams meetings. They're connecting one-on-one still with counselors and accessibility advisors. We also have student advisors, which are excellent kind of first stops for students to be able to figure out what their needs are and also be triaged to the right area. And our student service advisors, they are actually on the student portal, you can click and book an appointment and connect with those folks on a regular basis to support student learning. So right now, I'm pleased to say that anything that we have been offering in person, we are still offering remotely, just through technology rather than face-to-face.
Perfect. Thank you, Megan. The next question is for you, Deb. What other jobs outside of a school setting could a student that graduates the ECE program do?
Sure. Okay, Jason. So it's important that when we're considering early childhood, we're looking at the umbrella of services for children and families. And so primarily we do think about childcare, licensed childcare, home childcare, etc. But there is a whole breadth of services that also include children and families at some point. So the kindergarten classroom is one, but beyond that, thinking about other connections in the school system, such as Ed Assistant, as well as the Ontario Early Years sites early on that is available everywhere across the province. So those are programs that are available for children and their families, and you would find early childhood educators in those settings as well. I always like to tell the story of one of my grads who her goal was to be on the Disney cruise ship and do children's programming, and she went and did that. That wasn't in my repertoire of goals, but that really worked for her. I mean, she was young, she did it for a couple of years, she really enjoyed it. So again, there are so many connections when you start to think about all the services that are available for children and families. And our program also, we're looking at children from infancy all the way up to 12 years of age because of the licensing programming in Ontario. So again, thinking about before and after school care, all the connections to the Y programs for children. There's just so much variety now because there are such wonderful services available for families in our province.
So just a quick follow-up then. I know Deborah already talked about the opportunities for grads. What's the employment rate like for the ECE program right now?
So our sector is also needing registered early childhood educators sooner than later. And so our grads will also be available to start work immediately. And that's one of the bonuses of field placement in the area that you're interested in living and working, because you can establish those networks, and quite often students are offered positions right from their field placement end date. And so there are many opportunities available throughout the province and even around the world, right? Thinking of all the nanny positions as well. There's just, the world is so small now. You can take this and go anywhere.
Yeah, I figured that was the answer. Being someone that has small children, trying to find daycare was tough. So I figured that would be the answer. I'm going to take this question again to Giselle. If she could touch on social service worker in child and youth care and talk about employment opportunities for students that are finishing those programs as well.
Thank you, Jason. Absolutely. There are so many employment opportunities. And the really cool thing about our graduates is that they seem to like to let me know when they get a good job. So I hear from a lot of our graduates that get jobs. They like to let us know about those jobs. Recently, one of our students just got hired at the Youth Haven in Barrie. Another is working at Anoctic here in Aurelia. We have several of our graduates that are working at the Gilbert Center. Some are at the David Busby Center. Others are at the Aurelia Youth Center. So that's a lot of our SSWs. They get jobs. There's no shortage of jobs for our graduates. For the CYCs, again, because I've taught in both programs, I get to hear from them too when they graduate and they get jobs. We hear about jobs that they get sometimes at women's shelters. They work with the children that come into the shelter. So I've seen them get jobs there. A lot of jobs in schools across Ontario, just all over the place. Our CYCs get hired in schools in a variety of different positions. Again, in group homes, our students who graduate often get hired, in a variety of residential care type of jobs that they do in group homes. There's no shortage of jobs. I could go on and on and on, and our students get hired, our students get jobs in both programs. There is a high success rate. We don't have a problem with our students. I never hear back from them saying I can't find a job. They get jobs, so they're pretty successful at that, and I'm sure that that's because we prepare them so well.
So I guess what you're saying is that if you're a people person, human services is the right area for you then. Is that correct, Giselle?
Absolutely, it sure is.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to give this next question to Megan. Would a degree in human kinetics / kinesiology be considered suitable to meet the requirements for therapeutic rec? Over to you, Megan.
Thanks. Sorry about that. I was having issues with my mic. So absolutely, that degree would definitely be considered for the program and would be in line with the degree in healthcare or human services that would be recommended for therapeutic recreation.
Perfect. And we have one last question here, and I'll give it to Allison. Are placements paid? Can you explain how the placements work and the benefits for students that do take placements in the program?
Sorry, first part of the question again, Jason?
Are placements paid?
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought you said, but I just wanted to be sure. So generally, field placements are an unpaid work opportunity for students. And so it really is a chance for you to make connections in our community and build your network of mentors that you will then use for further connections when you are looking for work after the program. And field placements, now I've lost the second part of the question, Jason.
So are they paid, and can you explain the benefits of doing a program that is not a paid placement and what do benefit students get?
Thank you very much. I apologize. So exactly what I just said. When you're out on field placement, it's a really great opportunity to start building your connections to the community, not only the supervisor that you might be working with directly, but the other staff in the area, and and in some placements you actually will connect with other agencies as well. And so really the opportunity, the biggest opportunity and the biggest win in a field placement is building that network of people that you will eventually be working with. And so the more you invest in your field placement, the more time and energy and the more committed you are to the success that you will have during that field placement, the more likely that you will really build that network for yourself. One of the other things that we've heard from students is that often on a field placement, they've connected with a supervisor and they've actually really made a strong connection. And that person has ended up being a mentor for them throughout their job search and even throughout their career. And they've been able to build such strong relationships. And that really is by investing your time and energy into the work that you'll be doing.
Perfect. Thank you, Allison. That's a great way to end this session. So we are coming to the end of it today. So I'd just like to give a huge thank you to our panel today for joining us, and we hope that we answered a lot of your questions. Don't forget to visit our application hub today for help with your application and even assisting for applying for free. Many of our human services programs will be hosting post-event info sessions in the coming weeks. We encourage you to attend. Details on all post-event info sessions will be sent out to you via email.